joining now. We'll start off in a few minutes, but I wanted to welcome you. I'll give everyone a couple of minutes to log in, and then I'll get started. I can see it slowly coming up. All right. I might get ready to kick off. Thank you for joining me. A little bit about myself for those who don't know me. I'm Andre Koot. I'm Svitla's Executive Vice President for APAC, based here in Australia. Been doing business a long time and in technology a long time, largely in businesses driving transformation, but also consulting in a number of different technology areas that drive transformational outcomes. I'll cover a little bit about who Svitla is for those who don't know. We're a global company, been around 20 odd years, just over about 23 coming up to. We're in 15 locations globally, about 1,100 people in total, and we've got a good repertoire of work completed with over 5,000 projects. We focus really in four key areas: AI, cloud, data services, and software engineering. And we do everything in between, but they are the four key areas we focus in. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about our AI and what we do in AI, particularly around supply chain and logistics. So let me cover off a couple of challenges and myths that I've seen, because I think certainly in Australia, when we compare ourselves to the rest of the world, there is a little bit more hesitancy about AI. That's changing, but I do hear these challenges pop up every now and then when I'm talking to people. And the ones that I kind of want to focus in on really is around data, that you need perfect data to do AI. Secondly, that AI is expensive and that there's no return on investment. And I sort of want to just jump in on those two elements. Firstly, AI, it's true, needs strong data. You need to have clean data, you need to have structured data. The data needs to be in an environment that's ready to interface into the AI agent. But that doesn't mean it needs to be perfect. And the reason why I say that is where AI has come in the last couple of years is this: AI can now help us with that data. We can start seeing where the data's not right, and AI can help us correct it. It's also a common myth that all data needs to be right, whereas really you only need data to be right for the model that you're building or the agent you're building. So a lot of companies are getting kind of stuck in, I don't know whether I should start AI because my whole data suite's not correct yet. What we're saying is, as long as you've got a use case and the data for that use case is clean and correct, it's perfect to start with. On the return on investment, I think like a lot of early technology, there was a lot of hype around AI, and we saw a lot of, particularly overseas, a lot of investment going into AI builds that didn't generate a return on investment. I think what we're now starting to realize is AI is a transformative technology. And like any other transformative technology, that's come along. It's how we measure ROI. How do we set up the frameworks? How do we govern it so that we can drive a business case around ROI and get a result that actually adds value to the business. And that's one of the things that here at Svitla we're very focused on is, don't do AI for AI's sake, do it because there's a return on investment. So what are some of the common pain points in supply chain and logistics? And where can I start with AI if I'm in these industries? And the great news is that out of all of the different industry segments, AI with its predictive analytics capability actually suits supply chain and logistics business really well. So the first area that we see is volatile demand and how do we forecast accurately both our logistics needs, our inventory needs, and any point of sale requirements that we may have. Then we've got the transportation and route optimization, particularly interesting when you start getting into last mile delivery. So again, AI can help in that to optimize loads and optimize the route to do it the most fuel efficient way, the most time efficient way, and also to identify when we need to do some preventive maintenance in that route planning. Customer service and order management is where everyone went with AI initially, and that can work really well using AI to predict things like weather, history on time frame for delivery, etc. So we can start giving customers more accurate views of when delivery should happen. When we get back to the warehouse, what we're starting to see AI being used in is in a couple of areas, and it's quite cool in my world. We're starting to see warehouse design being optimized with AI so that the items that we pick more often that need to go in and out of the warehouse are placed closer to where the workers operate from to reduce the time it takes to fulfill that delivery item. We're also seeing how do we embed safety using AI into the warehouse environment. So using real-time video imaging to identify hazards in the warehouse and alerting staff in the warehouse beforehand to what those hazards may be. And then the last one is really around supplier and risk management and starting to use AI in the fraud sense, but using it to start to understand suppliers and who supplies what at what cost and their delivery time frames so that we can get more smarter in who do we place orders with, which supplier do we use when, and how do we reduce our overall cost of holding inventory down by selecting the right supplier to minimize that holding time. So these are all common pain points in this industry and how AI can help. We see AI in supply chain kind of sitting into 5 key areas. We've got our planning side around demand forecasting, our sourcing side, how we use it in logistics, around manufacturing, in particular, product design and predictive maintenance, and risk management. And what I've shown here is just common AI tools that exist in each of these today, that if you're looking for an out-of-the-box solution, they exist. However, out-of-the-box works well if it's not a strategic benefit to you and it solves your immediate use case. But we're still in that early stage of AI where that's not always the case. And so therefore, sometimes you have to build your own models. And that's where companies like Svitla come along and we can help you design something specific to your needs. And we've got an example I wanted to share where we've done that. So our client that we work with in the US is an e-commerce giant. They're a massive business. If I was to share the name, everyone would know what it is. They're an early adopter of technology. They want to lead with technology to drive client satisfaction and to reduce cost. And what the client wanted to do with us was they were trialing an innovative way to do last mile delivery that reduced fuel use by eliminating the idea of fuel. So they wanted to introduce drone delivery technology. And we worked with the client to bring AI in to optimize the drone delivery technology so the drone could actually make real-time decisions on the route it was going based on telematics like wind, obstacles that were popping up unexpectedly, um, uh, weather, other weather conditions like rain, uh, to deliver the item securely, but also in at as quick a manner as possible, uh, uh, and enable a quality outcome for clients for this clients of this e-commerce business to actually receive their deliveries without the need for a truck, without the need for a person, and without the need for environmental cost. So we certainly played a large role. It was very innovative at the time, and we helped this company develop this solution using AI, where we were taking real-time visual data, running analytics on that visual to determine whether we needed to course correct the drone or not, uh, and also to ensure the drone safety away from hazards. And that was a example of how Svitla has brought AI into the, adding value in the real time to a business, building a custom model. So how do you know whether you're ready for AI? We have developed what we call our AI readiness assessment, and we focus on 4 key areas around AI. Firstly, we start with the data, because you do need good data, but as I said, it needs to be relevant data for what the agent is going to do. So we focus on helping you get an assessment of that data, helping you understand where the limitations are, whether we can use AI to overcome that, or whether we need to do some data remediation work. We then focus on the technology side. So can we access that data in a ready way? Is it API enabled? Is the AI agent we're going to build sitting in an appropriate cloud environment or on an appropriate server environment? And do you as a company have the skills internally to do it, or do you need to look at a partner that's going to come along and help you with the technology? We then focus very much on the organisational, and whilst we certainly help guide you in the strategy here, one of the big successes in any transformation project is all around change management, and AI is no different. So we very much help you at the start, develop playbooks for your staff to take them on the journey for AI. As an organisation, we believe human in the loop is central to AI development. We don't go forward and we don't believe that AI will replace every human in the world. If you step back and think about it, whilst it might have some capability to do that, AI has no EI capability. It doesn't have an emotional intelligence quotient. And in the essence of today's world, we still need humans to bring creativity and emotional judgment to what needs to be done. So our design is very much around human in the loop. And then the last thing we help you with is to develop the business case. And we do that by really trying to understand the problem, trying to get the baseline data right so we can measure as we go through the proof of concept whether we're actually going to make a difference to the cost it takes to deliver that. So that's an important step in the process around getting ready. I mentioned, again, data is king for AI, but what I wanted to sort of focus on is you need to start thinking about data as an asset on your balance sheet. And in doing that, really start to go, how am I going to manage this asset? Because it's not about feeding an AI agent all the data in the world. It's about feeding them the relevant data that the agent needs to do whatever the business problem is we're going to solve. And it only needs that data. That's really important from a security point of view, from a governance point of view, and also from a point of view when we start talking about ethics to ensure that the AI agent is only doing what it needs to do to affect the outcome that we've trained that agent to do. So in the way we set that up, we've got to think about how do we create the data lake and the staging platforms to feed the relevant agent the subset of data it needs, nothing more, nothing less. And we need to be thinking about how that flows in a timely basis so that the agent has access to real-time data to enable that. So whilst there's a lot to get done, I kind of go, but there's something you can do quickly. And I talk about the 60-day plan to get AI started in your business. And the reason I do that is if you bring a business problem down, a simple business problem, you can probably solve it with an AI agent. And it's a relatively simple, single use case, single problem solving AI agent to do that. And a 60-day action plan that we've got will enable you to do that. So we start with trying to understand what the business problem is, the single-use business problem is that we're going to solve. We need to start educating our team that we're going to use AI to solve this problem and get them across and started on that change management journey. We're also going to start with, we need to start talking to our CFO, our CEO, and maybe our board about we're doing AI. We need to start talking about the governance structures we want to establish. Week 2 very much is about, okay, we're going to identify that business problem. We're going to go out and research and get vendors who might be able to support us in solving that business problem. And we're going to have gone to the board with a high-level statement around what it is we're going to do with AI to solve this single use. Week 3 is we're going to form that tiger team, and that's going to be a mix of the business user, your IT team, and maybe your outsourced vendor. And we're going to select the vendor that we're going to use and start to pull together a business case. We're going to get pricing together. We're going to start going, how much is this proof of concept going to take, and move forward from that. And then we start jumping into, okay, how do we make this happen? And we start with a little bit of a data audit for the use case that we need to solve. We start talking about data security and how we're going to get the data we need into a staging environment so that we're not giving the AI agent access to everything. And we're going to start working with the exec and the board to set up the appropriate governance committees so that what we end up with is an approach from a risk point of view that the board's comfortable with and that we start to shape at the same time as executing a proof of concept, the governance needs, the policy settings that should be governing the organization's AI approach. We then move into actually executing and we start the pilot and building it. We start doing the data validation and checking that it works. And it's an iterative process. You've got to remember, we're training an agent from scratch. It's a bit like having a 6-year-old kid, and we're going to train that 6-year-old kid to be an expert like a 35-year-old very quickly. But it takes time to train them. So we're going to go through that, and we're going to start to activate team members. We're going to start throwing different scenarios at the agent and teaching the agent what to do if this scenario pops up. So that by the time we get to week 7, we can start to monitor what the accuracy rate is of that agent. We're not necessarily saying it has to be 100% because I challenge anyone that does that says they're 100% accurate in their job day to day. What we want to do is get to an accuracy rate where we're comfortable that that's good enough for whatever that application is. We've then got to start thinking about how do we start to, measure the KPIs that we set up at the start to see whether this is going to give us a return on investment if we productionize it. We've got to set up the governance charter, and then we want to start setting up business processes on how will we use this in real life. So that at the end of week 8, what we should have is a proof of concept model that's been refined and has given us a good understanding of whether there's a return on investment here. We've got a beginnings of a data security plan for that AI agent so that we know that we're not going to be feeding data we don't want into the agent. We're going to be starting to have a training plan and potentially starting to roll that plan out for productionization of the agent. And we're going to have established the control checks, the human in the loop checks, the agent self checks that it will do along the way, so that what we end up with, like you would in a human environment, is we've got supervision and control checks overseeing our business process. That's what our 60-day plan is meant to be. It's about getting that proof of concept, testing it, seeing if we can do a return on investment from it, and getting the basics set up so that if we all go, it makes sense, we can go back to the board with a full business case to productionize this AI agent and scale it for production use. And that's a key to get started, and you only have to do it on one single use. And if you get it going, what my experience has been is, you do a single use here, a single use comes 2 uses. And over time, within 6 months, you will have a multitude of AI agents being used to do different activities within your cycle. So some of the things that get right and some of the mistakes that we see. Firstly, absolutely things to get right. Start the risk conversation. Everyone is nervous around AI for the right reasons on the ethics side and the risk side. But until you start talking about that and framing your policy, you can't really put the appropriate risk management in around it. Secondly, auditing the data and determining what subsegment of data you need and where it's going to come from, how accurate it is, and whether it's suitable for use with AI is important. AI's business transformation. So let's start talking about organizational cultural readiness. Are we ready for AI as a business? Create the momentum by getting the proof of concept and getting people excited by it. But start with a business problem before you start saying, I'm doing AI. Start with, I'm going to find a business problem that AI can solve, not I'm doing AI and then go searching. Some of the mistakes we see is people rush the learning process. As I said, you're taking a 6-year-old to a 35-year-old in a very small space of time. You need to allow time to train the agent, in particular, training the agent on the exception handling. The other big mistake we see is people start with Microsoft Copilot or they start with ChatGPT. They're starting with a large language model to do a single use case. And whilst you can do that, you've got to remember that large language model is a heavy-duty application that probably is not cost-effective for a single use case AI. So find an AI agent that is suitable for what you want to do that's not so big that it needs so much data. Secondly, the thing that we quite often see is people are trying to use the same agent to do multiple steps. And I liken this to people. If you've got a marketing person doing a marketing job and you need something to do a finance job, you don't go and get the marketing person to do the finance job. You recruit a second person. So when we're doing AI agents, we should be thinking the same way. I'm going to have an AI agent that does this single use case, and I'm going to have a different AI agent to do a second. That way you can train them to be specialists, and you also don't have to feed the agent so much data to cover both scenarios. It's going to be working quicker, it's going to save you money, and it's also going to be more secure. Embedding control checks is an afterthought, and this is where we see hallucination happen in AI and errors. So one of the things that we encourage people to do is in doing the exception handling, also start to embed control checks along the way, which is getting the agent to ask for different things to check instead of just making assumptions. It should be producing a report on the source data that it's used, right? It could be we're checking that it hasn't made up any data, right? That we're not comfortable with, and there's a report there that tells it anytime it's created data. So getting those control checks and getting them done early is important. But as I said, the last thing is getting people spend too much time on the data inputs because they're trying to get their whole database clean rather than the subset of data it needs. If you get that right, you're going to get to a scenario where you can get an AI agent up, you can test it, you get a return on investment business case going, and then you can start to productionize it. Now, you may have some of the skills in-house to do this, you may not. So how can we help you? Svitla and our AI team focus around 5 key areas where we have support for you. We can certainly help you with the AI strategy and working out what AI should you be doing first, and how do you align your organizational strategy to use AI. We then have these sessions we call Bright AI sessions, which is our way of running, quick workshops, 3 to 8 hour workshops, depending on what you want to look at, where we'll help you find the right business problem for the single use case to build an AI around, and then prioritize it based on our experience on what ones are going to give you the best return on investment. We then move into, we can help you do the data audits and getting data prepared with staging of the right into the right environments. We can build that proof of concept for you, and we can then ultimately scale that into a production environment using CI/CD principles. So I wanted to give you a gift for attending, and so my gift to you today is if you do want to move forward and do something with us around a Bright AI workshop, we'll give you that back as a rebate when we move the project into production environment. So thank you for attending. What I wanted to do, I'll wrap up and then I'll take questions. Firstly, AI is here. We want you to use it. Why? Because it's going to be the transformation of the industry going forward. There's enough emerging applications that are there for out of the box, but also don't discount building your own, particularly if it's going to give you a strategic market advantage. Let's do it for the right reasons. Let's get our business case working. Let's remember that it's a transformation project, so we need to get change management. And if you need some help, we're here to help you. All right. That's I might just hold there and take any questions. So if we got any questions, please pop them into the question and answer box. No questions? No drama? Please feel free to connect with me. We're going to be at the business show on the 5th and 6th of November coming up. We'll be there, but of course, if you want to connect offline, I'm more than happy to have a chat and answer any questions offline. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you found it informative, and I hope you start thinking about AI in supply chain and how you can use it to solve some of your business challenges. Thank you, everyone, for your time.